Good morning. Happy Thursday. It is day 4 of the 5-day Stress Buster Boot Camp. Good morning to you if you're watching me live, and if you're not watching me live, good whatever time of day it is. Sorry, I cracked myself up. This is Coach Courtney Miller of Best You Coaching, and today I'm going to be talking to you about gratitude, how to cultivate gratitude, and why. Why would you bother? Okay, so hi, good morning, Robin. So there are lots of reasons to cultivate gratitude, but why would it be related to stress relief? Because we've been told many times, right? Be grateful. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? You've heard that term. You've heard, no matter what, you have something to be thankful for. When we're in an environment like we are today, which is granted a very unusual environment where pretty much the whole world is kind of freaking out all at once. Everybody is always freaking out, by the way. We just happen to be more connected than we ever were before, so now we know everybody else is freaking out too versus before when we really didn't know. So anyway, we all know that we are all freaking out. So at any given time that is happening. But what do you do when you are in an environment like this and you're feeling that stress level really get to that red line limit, and how or why would you bother with gratitude, and how do you find it when you are in a space that is so strange? Sorry, I'm just moving around here this morning a little bit. I'm out on my back porch because my 4-year-old decided to take over my normal space. So I am grateful this morning that I have a beautiful back porch that I can sit on with a beautiful temperature. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous out this morning. It's actually livable and I love it. Anyway, so why bother with gratitude, and how do you find it when you're in an environment like we are today, when it's just like everybody's kind of okay. First off, why? So let's get into the why a little bit. Why is gratitude important? Because we've heard it our whole life that it's important to be grateful for everything, be grateful for what you've got, yada yada. But why is that important? Well, it could have been that the first time you heard that, your parent or grandparent or caregiver, whoever was taking care of you and giving you that advice, was just like, man, would you just take this and shut up already? That could have been the motivation. However, there is truth in that. And the truth is, when we are expressing gratitude, there are several things happening. There are things that are happening in our brains. There is actual brain chemistry that fires up when we are expressing gratitude. They actually have been able to, now there's a whole new field of psychology. It's called positive psychology, and you may have heard of it. But positive psychology is actually studying and quantifying how gratitude affects us from a physical perspective, as well as obviously the mental ramifications. So in positive psychology, they are studying gratitude and finding that there are specific sections of our brain that light up when we're expressing gratitude. And one of those things that's going to light up when you're expressing gratitude is the center of your brain that emits dopamine. You've heard me talk about dopamine before. If you've been paying attention through this whole boot camp, you've heard me mention dopamine. Dopamine is a wonderful, feel-good chemical that we produce ourselves. It's already available to us in our brain. And there are things that we can do that actually help release that. And when we have that dopamine release in our brain, it makes us feel good, which is actually where that whole idea of calling drugs dope, that's where it came from. It's because it elicits that dopamine response. So not to get too super scientific and throwing around vocabulary words on you, but that's essentially what's happening. When you're expressing gratitude, you're basically giving yourself a hit. Okay? So that's one of the reasons to express gratitude on a continuous basis. But let's talk about how you can actually physically do that, and a little bit more into the why. So the first why is you're going to get a dopamine hit, and that's going to make you feel better no matter what's happening. You will physically feel better when you express gratitude. But another why is, again, going back to, if you have all been students of the law of attraction, you have heard the phrase that whatever you focus on expands. If you are focusing on the things that you are grateful for in your life, you will expand the things that you are grateful for. Now, this is a twofold thing. One side of it is you will actually, more of that is going to be coming into your life, that good thing, whatever that thing that you are terming good. By the way, we all have the opportunity to label things one way or another. Actually, everything's technically neutral. We put a label on it and decide whether it's good or bad. Okay? So if you're deciding that something is good and you're focusing on the good, you will have more good happening in your life. That's one thing. You'll actually manifest it and attract it. The other side of that is, if you are focusing on the good in your life, not only are you attracting it, because you are focusing on it, because you are noticing it, you notice it more and more and more. It feeds on itself. So if you are walking down the street, for example, and you see a beautiful butterfly flittering around in the grass next to you, and you go, wow, what a beautiful butterfly. I'm so grateful I got to see that creature today. What a wonderful little gift to see a butterfly floating by my feet. Okay? And then what happens? You see another butterfly. This actually happened to me last, I want to say it was summer. I was out for a walk, and I called it the butterfly relay race. And what happened was, as I'm walking down the street, I saw this one beautiful butterfly, and he kind of got up. I don't know if it was a he or a she, but the butterfly got up and was, flying along beside me, and then landed on a piece of grass. And when I got closer to where that butterfly was, I was like, oh, that was beautiful, right? I'm so glad I got to see that butterfly. And then another butterfly. I don't know if it was the same butterfly or just the same kind of butterfly, but another butterfly that looked identical popped up, floated along beside me as I was walking, and I never stopped my pace. I was still walking at the same pace the whole time. Another butterfly got up and flittered along beside. This happened for like a mile. And I don't know if it was the same butterfly or if it was multiple butterflies, and it seriously was like a butterfly relay race where they were passing the baton and the next butterfly got it. But the point is, because I was focusing on it, I noticed it. If I had been walking along down that street and focusing on all of the stressful things in my life, or all of the worries, the anxieties in my life, I wouldn't have even noticed the butterfly. Butterfly probably still would have been there. I wouldn't have noticed the butterfly. So when we're talking about that whole law of attraction thing, part of it is, yes, you can manifest and you can draw these things to yourself. The other part of it is, you have to be aware. You have to be awake to even notice that these things are coming at you, right? Because they're coming at you all the time. But if you're not awake and noticing, it's almost like they don't even exist. They do. You're just not noticing them. Right now, all kinds of things exist all around us that we're not noticing. Seriously, right now. Because your brain can only process so much information. So, back to gratitude. So, there are some simple things, some simple tools that you can do to start to manifest more gratitude in your life. Excuse me, I'm just going to do something to my watch here so I can make sure that I'm mindful of our time together this morning. So, one of the things that I like to do on a daily basis, and I do this generally right before I go to bed at night, because I find that when I am refocusing on things that I am grateful for as I'm kind of reviewing my day in my head, if I'm going to gratitude, I sleep better, because I'm not going to bed full of anxiety. So I would love to pass this little tip on to you about gratitude and how to express gratitude on a daily basis. One of the physical things that you can do to express gratitude is to create a gratitude list. This is not news, okay? I am not coming up with an original thought here. I'm just going to put that disclaimer out there. This is not an original thought. And the reason why I know this is not an original thought is because things like this exist. This is literally a gratitude journal. And there are tons of things like this out there on the market. This was actually given to me by a really sweet, close girlfriend. And I have filled it. I can't even, there's no more room in this gratitude journal. Okay, because I was using it on a daily basis. I don't even remember what the date was that she gave it to me, but it was, it was a while ago, and I filled it up. But you do not have to use a fancy gratitude journal in order to express gratitude. This is a great way to do it, and especially if you're not used to the exercise, something like this can be really helpful because it gives you like prompts. It'll give you little writing prompts so that you can get started on it, and it can help your brain moving in the right direction. So that could be really helpful for you, but you don't have to have that something super fancy that's got beautiful unicorns on it or anything like that. You can. You don't have to. You can have something as simple as this. This is what I have as my gratitude journal that I use every night, and it's just a little, here, I'm going to turn this around for you. It's just like it's a mini notebook. I don't know, I probably paid like $1 for it or something like that. There's nothing fancy about this notebook. It's fabulous because it has 180 sheets in it, and I'm using both sides of the sheets because I do like, one sheet per day, one side of a sheet per day. So this thing is lasting me pretty much a year, right? So this is a great way to go, and you don't have to spend a whole lot of money on it. And you may even have one of these laying around your house right now that you can turn into your gratitude journal. So I make it a habit of writing down a minimum, and you can see this is my gratitude journal from last night. I make it a habit of writing down a minimum of 3 things that I'm grateful for. And if you're really wanting to sort of turbocharge that, get creative and don't repeat the things that you're grateful for. So if you're writing down every single day, I'm grateful that I have eyes, and the next day you say the same thing, it's great that you're grateful that you have eyes. However, if you're using that same thing every single day, it's going to get stale, and you're not really expanding your gratitude practice. In order for you to expand your gratitude practice, you need to stretch yourself, right? You need to grow outside of your comfort zone. Maybe being grateful for having eyes is your comfort zone. Maybe being grateful for the fact that now you've been given a statewide order to stay at home. It's hard to be grateful for that at first blush. That's coming down for us here in Florida, right? As of, I think it's tomorrow. So, and we're not the first state to do this. In fact, we're the 30th. It took us a while to get there. But the point is, it's hard at first blush to be grateful for that. Because your first instinct, most likely, if you're anything like me, is, oh, fuck. Sorry for the language. But that's my first instinct, to be honest. It's like, oh man, I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, and I gotta make sure we have these things, and blah, 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 blah. Right? That's what happens to me first. That's the first thing. So just FYI, if you have that happen to you, it's totally normal. It's totally normal to have that first blush reaction of, okay? But the point of this Stress Buster Bootcamp and these videos is to remind you that A, you are human. It doesn't matter how much of this work you do, you will still always be human, which means you will still always have that panic. You'll have fear come up. You'll have anxiety come up. You'll have stress come up. These are a part of being human. The second thought, the first thought you have no control over. The second thought you do. You have a choice in the second thought. So the first thought comes up, and the first thought is, right? The second thought, you have a choice to either stay in and add fuel to it by going and, right? Or you can choose, okay, so this is happening. Okay, I am so grateful that I have a home to shelter in. I'm grateful that I'm getting this news now, and I can start to mentally prepare for it, physically prepare for it. It's not like all of a sudden everything is going dark, right? That's something that we can be grateful for. We can be grateful that we are supporting each other and we are showing up for each other, even if it's in a virtual way right now. That's something to be grateful for, that we have this technology. So even while we're in all this isolation, we don't have to be completely isolated. That's a beautiful thing. That's something to be grateful for. So we can still see each other's bright and shiny faces, even when we can't give each other a real hug in person. So your challenge for today's Stress Buster Bootcamp is to write down a minimum today, and it can be before bed tonight. That's probably a great way to go, but if it's not before bed, that's okay. Write down 3 things that you are grateful for. And it could just be that you're grateful that your internet still works and you're able to get a hold of inspirational things that keep you thinking like, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel and it's not a train. Okay? So that's your challenge today, is to write down 3 things that you're grateful for. Now, if you want to turbocharge that challenge, I can talk. Leave a comment. Tell us what you're grateful for. Share it with everybody else here who's in the group. Share it to your personal timeline also. Tag me in it. Or tag the Stress Buster Bootcamp in it, so that you can share this with other people. And maybe what you're doing is going to be a positive ripple. And you can be grateful that you helped somebody else smile today. Maybe somebody else who's having big stress levels and high anxiety is going to benefit from the fact that you took 30 seconds to write a gratitude list. And how beautiful is that? So I'm going to have another post up here, of course, in the Facebook group where you can leave comments and tags and accept the challenge of the day. And I will have this video up on YouTube later on today too, so feel free to go to YouTube and share that video however you want to share it, because I'm putting these out here so that we can reach out to the most people possible and help them have a better day too. Help them realize they are not alone. Help them realize that there is still a community out there that cares, that the universe still cares, even though we're going through this tough time. It's just giving us an opportunity to get better at working on ourselves and staying centered and being the lighthouse in the storm, as opposed to being on every single wave and riding up and riding down. We can be that solid. We can be on that solid place. We really can. And that doesn't mean we're not going to still feel it. Doesn't mean the waves are going to stop crashing against us. They're going to continue to crash against us. But when we are on sound footing, they're not going to move us. So I hope you're accepting this challenge today to write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And I will see you again tomorrow, Friday. We're going to be talking a little bit more about cultivating a connection to the universe so that we can feel like we are never alone, because the universe has our back. All right, guys, I will see you later. Have a wonderful Thursday and be healthy and well.